Okay, welcome everyone. I'm delighted that you're here. It is Thursday, May the 6th of 2021, unless this is your future self watching this. We are here with the Mari Partners doing digital engagement training, and today we're going to be talking about micro-learning and our behavior and some roles that we need to play when we're working online. And then we'll do a little bit of work with Einstein. We're going to rewrite the theory of relativity. And then we're going to do our very first session on actually diving into some very specific tools. So today we'll do the first one on tools for communication on learning. So happy to have you here. Welcome everyone. Let us know in the chat, what is something that you've learned lately? So let us know in the chat, what's something that you've learned lately? And it could be anything, any topic at all. So let us know in the chat. I listened to a podcast recently on this brilliant doctor talking about, as you may or may not know, we actually have two hemispheres in our brain, and the corpus callosum is in the middle, and it connects them. And so he's been doing research into why do we have two hemispheres? So that's an example from me. Anyone else? Something that you've learned lately? Afi's saying, did an extensive read on AstraZeneca vaccine. On Sunday, there was a first come, first serve voluntary application for it. Oh, that's the vaccine I got. Yeah, here in Kenya. Okay, great, Afi, thank you.
What's your experience like taking the vaccine? Do you have any side effects?
Yeah, so I tend to have kind of a finicky system, kind of a sensitive system. So my arm was quite sore. I won't lie, it was quite sore. Like I woke up a couple times at night, but nothing other than that, nothing. So for about 24 hours, it was quite, significantly sore, but yeah, nothing other than that. Notice the, so we're going to dive into micro learning and notice how, when Afi gave an example, people are building on that, asking questions, and so we are social animals and we're built to learn. Anyone else? Maz is saying something new. I'm shocked by how little I know about theater. Oh, okay. Okay, so there was some learning about potentially maybe more learning you want to do. Ali's learning. Oh, hi, Ali. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Learning a bit about financing. Good. Oh, I've been learning a little painfully how to sort and filter and do conditional formatting in Google Sheets. And it was hard for me to learn, but I have a handle on it, and I just feel very good about that. Anyone else? Something that you've learned lately? Just let us know in the chat if that's the case. Excel is a headache. It's a headache if there's a problem in the formula or something, but oh my goodness, when it works, Amira is agreeing with Ali. By the way, peeling back the curtain, you might be wondering why I'm reading out the comments. There's two reasons why I try to read out the comments. Actually three reasons. Any guesses why I'm verbally trying to reiterate the comments? Shuk is saying, I recently learned about connecting with children through games. Oh, that's perfect, because we're going to, we talked about gamification in our last session. Any ideas why I read out the comments?
To acknowledge the stream that's happening?
Yes. So one of the reasons is I try to make people feel welcome. And just by hearing your name, that tends to massage people's almonds, right? Those amygdalas. Oh, she sees me. I'm here. She's acknowledging me. Now, it can go backwards if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. So that's one reason, is to make people feel like they're seen, they're heard, they're acknowledged. Ali, absolutely. For people who watch it in the future, So as you may or may not know, with Zoom, you can see the comments on your screen right now. And if you click that setting, and I can see them, but in the recording, you can't. So if I said something like, oh, good one, Ali, I might be excluding someone in the future. They're like, what did Ali say? Why was that a good one? So that's the second reason. And the third reason, it's an access and inclusion issue. Ali's saying, I do like my name being read out unless it's in an angry tone. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a different, yeah, absolutely. So any ideas? This is a little bit harder one. Shook has the emoji laughing, crying face there. That's great.
Does it have to do with visual impairment?
Oh, yeah, kind of. It's adding. Do you remember when, for those of you who are in that session, we did one of the acts, we've talked a lot about access and inclusion. We've talked about the life lenses, power and privilege, all those kinds of things. We also talked about A, V, and K. Anybody remember that? What the A, V, and K stands for? This is one of the simplest ways you can make your online engagement pop. We did a session on AVK. Any guesses? So A stands for audio. Okay, and the V, so it's a hint. What would the V stand for? Visual. Yes, Amira, yes. And the K, so we've got audio, visual, and
Kinesthetic?
yes. So I'm adding another layer of helping you feel engaged with the content. So in addition to seeing it, if you're participating live, you can actually see the chat. Some people respond better to audio cues. So I'm adding that layer, right? So we've got audio and visual happening at the same time, right? If you want to, you can go back to that session, rewatch it in the video, look at that in your resources portal. You can take the audiovisual kinesthetic learning preference survey there to find out which one are you more oriented to. I had a participant once, she actually stood up in class. This was when we were in real life. And so she was kinesthetic, right? She stood up and she said, that's what flip charts are for. I had no idea what those darn things were for. So what does that tell you about, like Shook is literally shaking with laughter. That's great. What does that tell you about her learning style, that she didn't prioritize flip charts? What cue does that give you? What kind of, between audio, visual, and kinesthetic, what is a flip chart? It's visual, Maz, exactly. So she had not prioritized visual learning, right? To her, what do people need to look at? They just need to do stuff and hear stuff. That's it, right? So that's just a little behind the scenes about why I try to acknowledge the comments. 3 reasons for people who are watching this in the future: to make people feel included and seen and acknowledged, they belong. And then thirdly, to add another layer to the learning. So it's not just audio, it's not just visual. We also, and then ideally, you'll notice from time to time, I put in the kinesthetic too. Okay, so this infographic here is one of my favorites I've ever made or had made. I didn't make it, my team made it. And I think our roles when we're working in community, we're working to engage people, to teach, to advocate, to involve, to bring on board, to affect social change. One of our key roles is to remove blockages to learning and engagement, right? So we want to take away, welcome Vish, so happy to have you here, welcome.
Sorry to be late, Leanne. Thank you.
No worries. We're happy you're here. So we want to take away these blocks, right? So make sure that learning and engagement doesn't take a detour, that the roads aren't blocked, that it's not too steep, right? So an example of steepness, if I said, okay, everyone, you have 10 minutes, please write a 20-page paper on the status of human rights in Malaysia. It has to be in at least 3 languages and have 10 sources. You've got 15 minutes, go, right? Like I have just set you up for failure. So your amygdala is kicking and screaming. It's very unhappy. It's getting ready to fight, free or freeze. You probably are angry with me. You wouldn't respect me, etc. So our role is to get rid of these blockages so that the engagement is easy for our communities. So we take away those blockages so that they can focus on the content that you've worked so hard to create, right? Because learning can be really, really simple, or it can be really, really hard. And we want to make it as easy for them. We want to make the engagement as easy for them so that that's what they're focusing on, the content, not the, gee, I can't move the slide forward, or Excel is really, really difficult. Vishalini, we were talking about Excel a little bit before. So one of the ways that we can do that, there's many ways, and that's, all of our previous sessions have been about how do we get really great engagement online. So one of the ways is micro-learning. So what do you think micro-learning is? What's your, when you hear that term, what do you think micro-learning is? Any guesses? It's actually what it sounds like. Don't overthink it. Yeah, Vish, bite-sized learning. Yeah, exactly. Small pieces. Yeah, it can be subtle, Shuk. Absolutely. So this is a relatively new focus and engagement, and it's really taken off. So last time we talked about gamification. That's one of the trends in online engagement and online learning and advocacy right now. Another trend is micro-learning. So I asked you to think about something that you had recently learned. So if you haven't thought of that example yet, try to get something in your head, something that you've recently learned. And then let's see, once we go through microlearning, let's see if you actually used any microlearning when you did that. So microlearning is all small, logically related chunks. It's highly focused, really, really, really highly focused. It's meant to be delivered in the time of need, and it's meant to pique the stakeholder, the community's interest, so that they want more. Okay, so that's what really good microlearning does. So when you think of this thing that you recently learned, did anybody use any microlearning? Did you learn and did you use any microlearning, or do you have an example of microlearning? You may not yet. So do you happen to know of any examples of microlearning? Cybersecurity. Okay, so Vish, cybersecurity is potentially the topic, if I'm understanding you right. And then how did you learn about that? Did it involve microlearning? A short video on vaccines, for example. Yes, that's an example of microlearning. If it's very highly targeted, if it's very specific, and if it leads to people wanting to know more, that's a great example. Vishal is saying, DI did some training for us on it. Okay, great. And do you remember, looking back on it now, do you think anything involved microlearning? Ali, is it like when I learn about an investment app? It depends on how you're learning about it. So let me give you some examples here. So an infographic, right? So that picture that I showed you, this piece right here, right? This is an infographic. That's a microlearning example. Okay, it's really highly focused. It does not take you an hour to look at this, and you can very, very quickly get a sense of what I'm talking about. So infographics are an example. if you have process diagrams or memes, I'm going to show you a tool on how to create memes or GIFs. GIFs and memes are microlearning, or GIFs, depending on how you say it. By the way, who says it with a hard G and who says GIFs with a soft G? Let me know in the comments there. So you can have image-based microlearning. You can have audio-based. So a podcast, like a short podcast. Maz is saying GIF, Ali's saying soft, GIF. Okay, so I think all of you are GIFs. Okay, I say GIF, so I'm gonna switch that for you. Video, so flashcards, screencast, having a vlog, having a little demo video, like a time-lapse video. Those are all different examples. So let me show you an example right now. So I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to actually, so I'm going to show you two examples based on something that Neural said. I'm just doing this off the cuff here. This was last minute. So one of the things that she was talking about was that there can be a lot of misconceptions. She was asking me about pictures of Nairobi and living here and what's that like. So my brain went, oh, that's actually really great for today's session. It's a micro learning. So can you see a picture of inside a car? Just, just let me know. It's okay. Okay, I got a thumbs up, great. Maz is saying, the brain diagram was a bit blurry just now. The PowerPoint is fine. The diagram, so I was showing you it in the PowerPoint. Sorry about that, Maz. All of the PowerPoints are in your portal, so you can always go back to these and take a look at them. Okay, I wonder why that was, sorry, I'm not sure why that was blurry there. Okay, so here's a quick, if I was going to do a workshop, maybe I'm welcoming people to Nairobi, maybe they're UN staff or embassy staff, they've just moved here. So here's a quick micro learning example. It's a video, there might be a lag, and know that when I play a video, sometimes my sound is louder or softer than yours. So be prepared to turn your sound up or down. Here we go.
Here, you want me to go straight here?
Left here, left here, left here, left here, left and straight.
Oh. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
Keep going, keep going. No.
Man, does the steering wheel buck. Okay, okay. Oh!
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Oh. I'm trying to make it go that way.
Go around, go around, go around, go around. It's not yet dirty.
Okay. It's not yet dirty. Where am I going?
Go straight, right
Okay.
here.
Okay.
Right there, right there, right there,
I thought you
right
said
there.
straight. Okay. Oh. It's very hard to go straight in mud. Okay. Okay, this is exhausting.
Keep
Really
going,
bad.
keep going, keep going, keep going.
Come on, Bella. Come on, sweetie. Oh, listen to that engine go.
Keep going, keep going. Don't let off the gas. Do not let off the gas.
Okay, so Shook is saying, I feel like I'm in a 3D game. So that's me learning how to four-wheel drive, because I love going on safaris, and you could hear the engine just like straining. And while I don't know about you, but the grounds didn't look that bad. Like it kind of looked, not very bad, but being inside the car, you could see how muddy, and I have pictures later, like the car is just covered in mud. So if I was doing a course on welcoming you to Nairobi, maybe what it's like to go on safari, or maybe I'm teaching you, it's an introduction to learning how to four-wheel drive, it's so much more powerful, right? And that was just over a minute. I think it's a minute 17 video. And notice the comments that were coming in. You know, Shik says, I feel like I'm in a 3D game, actually more like a virtual game. The people that had their videos on, I can see people smiling, as opposed to me saying, when you go four-wheel driving, you need to hold the steering wheel very loosely because it will buck. But you can, you know, being able to see it is so much different. Any comments on that? Any reactions to that? I'm just going to queue up another video while you are thinking about that. Oh, sorry, I can hear that someone's talking, but I can't hear what you're saying. Apologies.
Your screen is not showing. I mean, there's like something gray.
Okay.
Yeah, grayish.
Can you see a clock now?
Hi, Leah. Yes, I can see a clock, but there's like a gray bar
Gray bar.
blocking.
Oh, okay. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so this, I'm just gonna play this. I'm going to use this tool, and then we'll talk about what this is later on. Just try to answer the questions. I know that you don't know the content, but just try to answer the questions. Here we go. Okay, well done. You know a lot about the round table. So any guesses what that tool was? So what the one that you just were using? Oh, so you're relating it, yeah. So it's kinesthetic because you have to type, yeah. So there's also a visual element to it. I want to redo it because how did you feel about the timing, by the way? Did it feel too long between when it switched? Or was the timing okay? There was 10 seconds between each. It was okay, Ali says, okay. I'm trying to ask this question without giving it away. Do you have an idea of what tool I use to make that? It's going to go back to, oh, actually, I'll show you one other thing before we go back. Shook, yes, it's a PowerPoint. Yes, good. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, so, oh, Maz is saying, Kahoot, Survey Monkey. Yeah, so actually what I did, yeah, so simple, Ali. So I made a PowerPoint, then I animated the PowerPoint. So I just added timing. And then here's the key to make it in. So that's an example of flashcards. Okay, so that's, and flashcards is a micro learning example, right? That, I think that runs about 2 minutes, somewhere in there. So so I wasn't pressing the button to forward the slides. Do you have any idea what I did to get it to go like that? I was completely hands off. So I used PowerPoint, regular slides, added an animation, like the timing, so it changed, but it played all on its own. Do you have any idea what I did? So I exported it. So I created the PowerPoint, added the timings, then I exported it as any guesses? As a video, yes, Amira, yes. So you can add timings to a PowerPoint and then export it as a movie. And then poof, now you've got flashcards. And you can get, I don't know if you know, in PowerPoint, you can change how the slides come in and out. Yeah, very cool, Vishali. And just takes a little while, right? Super, super fast. I'm teaching some conflict resolution, negotiation, collaboration courses to a UN peacekeeping agency. And a lot of the folks are going to take the same folks are going to take all 3 courses. So I was looking for a new way to introduce myself. So I do 2 truths and a wish, and I do some storytelling. So I hit on this idea. I haven't made it yet, but I'm going to make flashcards to introduce myself. So when I was growing up, I wanted to be, and then you'll see like engineer, doctor, fashion designer, world traveler, right? And people have to try to guess. And then it goes, I'll do it as a PowerPoint, add the timing, export it as a movie, and then the next flashcard will say the answer, right? So, and you could do this for content, whatever subject matter expertise you have. It's so simple, so simple. And this plays into our last session when we talked about the power of video, right? And how important video is. Any downsides? So those flashcards were a movie, and I showed you a movie of me doing four-wheel driving, learning how to four-wheel drive. Can you think of anything that would be a downside to those tools? Because they're both movies. So they're both micro learning examples, and they're both movies. Can you think of a downside? Because every tool will have its positives and its negatives. There's not going to be one engagement strategy that works with anyone everywhere. That's why you have to know your community so well. Zudi, I don't think I said welcome to you. Welcome, nice to have you here. Maz might say people don't follow it, maybe. Shook is saying if we don't pay attention, we will miss out on certain messages. Sure, that probably applies to anything, right? There's something very, very, very practical. And I kind of said it at the beginning when I started to show you them. Yes, you can't. Well, you can, like, actually the flashcards were interactive because I was asking you to answer those questions. Timing, potentially, even more practical. You're being too smart. Think very, very, very practical. Starts with a B. B-A. B-A-N, bandwidth. Yeah. So if you're showing movies, you're going to be sucking bandwidth. Yeah. So sometimes, depending on who you're working with, either their system won't be able to handle it or your system won't be able to handle it. There's a way to get around that. Anyone know, like, not entirely, but there's a way to help you with that. Anyone know? And I will tell you my top secret, but wait, like, way to do this, but you can't tell anyone or I'll have to have you locked up. Oh, you could give them the file, yeah. Let's just say there's 150 people coming to your online event. So maybe that wouldn't be practical. You could, I don't know if you can reduce the file size of movies. I don't know, is that possible? Does anybody know? The thing that really helps is to make sure that you could give them the link, yeah. You make sure that you have the video on your desktop. So don't be playing it from like YouTube or something like that. If you have it on your desktop, it will play better. The resolution, it'll take less bandwidth, etc. Now, here comes the top secret thing that you can't tell anyone that I told you this because it's a little bit dodgy, a little bit sketchy. So can you all like raise your hand and promise not to like tell you that I told you this? Okay. So I am going to trust you that you will use this with integrity. So if there's a video on YouTube that you want to use, how do you get that onto your desktop, right? Because it's online, right? So let me just show you an example here. So I showed this the other day to the peacekeepers. So can you see, it's actually not very good resolution. But I'm just going to play this for just a second here. The sound is not good. Okay, could you see the, it's such a great video, but the quality is not very good. And I was using it for conflict resolution course. And it's this young guy and this older woman, she wants the window closed, I think, and he wants it open. Yeah, exactly, Maz. And the video is called The Silliest Window War or something you'll ever see. Nothing, Shihira, nothing happens in the end. There's 4.5 minutes. 4.5 minutes of them pushing, opening, closing, opening, closing. So it's a great video for conflict resolution. And then I launch into a whole talk about neuroscience and what's happening in the brain. But I grab people's attention with that video. Now, that video is from YouTube, but it's on my desktop. How did I get it from YouTube onto my desktop? Anybody know? So you download it, and the easiest way to do this is you add PP after YouTube. So it'll be youtube.com and then a whole string of long numbers and letters. If you put PP after YouTube, so youtubepp.com, you can download the video. So Amira, that's great. I know, it's shocking. Now, I know, Afi, right. Now, here's the sketchy thing though, right? I am a content creator. I make my living from information in my head. So I feel, and on YouTube, people make their living from these videos, like some content creators, right? So we have to be really respectful. If we're downloading videos, we're taking away their views. And some people make their living, right? They generate ads and all of those kinds of things. So we need to do that really respectfully because, you know, some people might say like that's stealing, right? If you're downloading someone else's video. So make sure you credit, you know, just do that respectfully and carefully. Yeah. And when you download using that method, you can choose how big the file size is. So that's really, you get, I think, 4 different choices. Yeah, it's super, super cool. It's on that border of being a little morally, you know, sketchy. So just be careful with that. Okay, let's go back here to, oops, hang on here. Okay. So I've given you a bunch of examples now of micro learning. So if we go backwards here, just to reiterate, right? So these are really tiny little chunks of learning. They're highly, highly focused. Has anybody taken it used to be called lynda.com. Now it's LinkedIn Learning. Has anyone taken one of those, something on LinkedIn Learning? Or something on one of the big, yeah, like an online asynchronous, so like on your own time. Have you taken any of those courses in anything? Okay, so not always, but oftentimes those classes, those courses are micro learning. So there might be like a segment that's 3 minutes long, right? It's super, super, super focused. So you've probably taken micro learning without knowing it. Okay, so once again, these are some examples. I'd love to know in the comments, can you see yourself using any kind of micro learning examples? Just put a note in the comment there. So could you do, and you probably already do. Does anyone use infographics? There is a whole thriving industry. Yeah, Ali does. Okay, of people that now design infographics. So organizations like Upwork, you can get an infographic designed for, $5. Does anyone use memes or I'm going to say it right, GIFs? Does anyone use memes or GIFs in your work already? Memes and GIFs are really, really powerful because that plays on what we know about. Do you remember how many times faster the brain interprets images than text? We talked about that last time. How many times faster does the brain interpret images versus text? Yes, Amira, 600,000. Yes, Shook. Yes. Mari, I think that's maybe Afi, hey? Just looking at the screen names here. Yeah, so memes and GIFs are fantastic. And also they play on an additional factor of stories, which means that it bypasses cynicism, judgment. If we're looking at a meme or a GIF or a picture, it invokes our emotions. It's just really, really, really powerful. And flashcards. Can anyone here see making one of those PowerPoints, adding the timing, exporting it as a movie, and using flashcards? By the way, that one, that was my first ever attempt at the flashcards, and I tried to add audio. You could probably see that weird audio thing, and so that's going to be my next thing. So you can make those flashcards have audio. Maz is saying I'd like to try. Way to go, Maz. Yeah, so lots and lots of great, good for you, Ali. Vish is saying I use an app called Quizlet with flashcards for language lessons. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's lots of different ones like those. If you want to design your own and kind of put your branding on it, your logos, have your branding palette in there. The PowerPoint one is so simple. You can make it just in a few minutes. Okay, well done for micro learning. Okay, I wanted to turn our attention. Oh, Fish is saying Mari recently funded a pilot project on memes for advocacy. Fantastic. Yeah, they're so powerful when they're done well. They just work with how our brains work, right? Their use of story, evoking emotion, using images. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so if it's okay, we'll switch over to talking about, I know this was, so this is the second time I've taught this cadre of online engagement mini courses. And the first time this topic about the various roles online was really, really important to folks. And I'm curious now that we're that much further into the pandemic, where you're at with this. So I liken this to sink and swim, which is kind of a play on words there. So if everyone's synced up with their understandings of their roles online, etc., then we can really swim as opposed to feeling like we're failing here. So I have this cartoon here. This water is freezing. I'm going to go in shock and drown. I just know it. I bet the lifeguard is involved in some insurance scam and she's going to let us all drown like rats. Oh no, oh no. Okay, first we're going to learn the dead man's float. Mom, help, help, help. Mom says, what I put up with to pay for college. So just an example of you know, when we're what it can feel like if we're flailing around and our roles aren't synced up. So let me know. I'm just going to pull up another video here. It's a bit longer, but while I'm doing that, actually, let me just stop the share here. While I'm doing that, let me know if you have any particular questions about your roles when you're working online. Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, no, I don't want to do this video. Oh, sorry about that, folks. Okay. So this video that I'm just pulling up here. I'm going to share it in the link. This is in the chat rather. This is linked in your resources portal. Has anyone watched this, by the way? I know some people, you know, jump around with those resources, which is great. Has anyone seen my horrible, terrible, no good, very bad video? No one's watched it. Okay, it's about 4 minutes. Oh, Vish has seen it. Okay. Okay, so that is the YouTube link. I'm going to share the one that's down. Oh, hang on, sorry, I didn't optimize my. I'm just sharing my screen, and a tip with Zoom is when you share, there are particularly when you're sharing video, there's 2 boxes at the bottom. They're quite small, and it says share sound and optimize for video clip. So make sure if you're sharing video and you're using Zoom that you do that. Okay, so I'm going to play the video. Just here we go. Yeah, no, I don't want to do this video. What is it called? Zoom web? I don't know. Online thing. Yeah. I know, but she was supposed to do it and she couldn't because she's sick. And yeah, what? Okay. Oh, hi. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. Okay, let's just make sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So today we're here for the joint production activity. Learning occurs most effectively when experts and novices work together for a common product or goal and are therefore motivated to assist one another. Providing assistance is the general definition of teaching, thus joint productivity activity. No, joint, what? Joint productive activity, JPA, maximizes teaching and learning. Okay, they can't see me, right? Can they see me? Oh, wait a minute, okay. There, is that, okay. I don't know, okay, sorry, okay, just, okay, maximizes, okay, working together allows conversation, which teaches language, meaning, and values in the context of immediate issues. Teaching and learning through joint productivity activity is cross-cultural, typically human, and probably hardwired. This kind of mentoring and learning in action is characteristic of parents with very, okay, just, hang on. Okay, yeah, maybe is that better? What? I don't, oh, okay, sorry, okay, hi. Okay. Hi. Thank you for seeing me. Okay. So, where was I? It's characteristic of parents with very young children of preschool, graduate school, adult learning, school to work, and service learning on the job training of all education. Oh, sorry. Okay. On the job training of all education except the common. Okay. 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 Oh, share my. Okay. They're saying to share my screen. Just a second. How do I? Okay, hang on. Just yeah. Okay. Okay. So hang on. Okay. Okay, so joint activity and discourse allows the highest level of academic achievement using formal school to scientific ideas to solve practical world problems. The constant connection of school concepts and everyday concepts is basic to the process by which mature school thinkers understand the world. Okay, let's just, I don't know. Okay, just, okay, can you read that? Yeah, okay. Okay, you finished? Okay, and then this one. I know, okay. Okay, yeah, okay, and then this one. Okay. And then this one. Okay, and here's some here's some what do you call them? Websites, like the URL, you know, for further what do you call it? Just how do I find this thing? Hang on. Okay, just a sec. There. Okay. Okay. Thank you for your time. I hope you got a lot out of it. Okay. Bye. How do I? Does it stop? No. How do you stop? I know. Stop it. Make it stop. Please make it stop. Okay. Okay. Bye. There you go, everyone. That was so much fun to film. Yeah, Shahira, like what did you learn? Like nothing. So you've done really well in the chat here. So folks are talking about there's no pictures, visuals are not helpful, bad visuals. Shook is distracted. You know, wait, are you getting cues from an invisible person? Actually, it was my cat. I was talking to my cat. Vishalni, I seem bored and frustrated. Absolutely. My motivation was zero. How am I supposed to motivate the people I'm working with in my community if I like clearly did not want to be there? I was speaking too fast. I just want to be done. I was playing with my earrings, my hair. Say more about that. There's something there that I haven't heard. Did you notice? Say more about my earrings. What was the issue? Like playing with them was not good, but there was something else about the issues or the earrings rather.
Dangly, and it got caught in the microphone, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually today is an exception, but I almost always only wear studs when I'm presenting, or these ones are very, very lightweight because the microphones are so sensitive. And in fact, and I'm sorry, I can't remember if it was this group. It was really cold here one morning in Nairobi, unseasonably cold. And I happened to be wearing a shirt with a collar. And was it you folks, I think, maybe? Pardon me. And what I didn't realize is that the collar, it's so very rarely that cold here. So I don't wear shirts with collars. I wear shirts like this. Well, the collar hitting the mic. And it was subtle, but it was distracting for people. So even things like that, you know, if you have, so Shook, your shirt is great. There's no collar on it. There's nothing that's going to hit your mic. If you have a mic like this, you know, there's all different kinds of mic, but even things like that. I had deliberately put lipstick on my tooth, right? So when I'm presenting, I always have a mirror very close to me, right? Why do I have a mirror? I know this one looks really ratty, but a youth gave this to me like 30 years ago on a youth exchange. So why is a mirror important? To look your best. Yeah, and to make sure you don't have anything stuck in your teeth, something coming out of your nose, like, that there's just something that is going to make everyone zero in on that, that lipstick or that spinach that's caught in your tooth or whatever. Okay, so those were lots of examples of what not to do. And that link is, is in your portal there. Let's go back to the PowerPoint here. Oh. Okay, are we good? Can you see my screen now? This is a screen grab of the video. Just let me know if that's okay. Okay, great. Okay, so we're going to talk about roles in just a second. Thanks, Hudi. Thanks, Maz. But before we talk about that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about our behavior online. So what percentage of people multitask while online? So put a guess in the chat or unmute and let me know. So we've got 85, 98, 90, 30. Okay, yeah, it's quite high. It's 92. 92% of people, this comes from Tech Change, multitask while online. So it's even more important that we're engaging online, because people are, and I know that, folks, in our group today, something else is calling your attention, your kid needs something, your cat, I forgot to reply to that email. So getting people's focus and attention is everything. So some ways that you can do that is through the letter Z. Anybody know what I mean by that? Why is the letter Z important online? Any guesses? Zero. So we read a bit differently online, and we tend to read in the shape of a Z. So on your deck, on your PowerPoint, on your images, this shape here is important, right? This shape here. So think about the letter Z. This research comes from Tech Change. How often do you think you should be getting some kind of interaction from the folks that you're working with? How many minutes? Any guesses? So how many every X number of minutes you should be, so we've got 2, 5, 5, lots of fives. Yeah, it's every 5 to 10 minutes, every 5 to 10 minutes. So if you notice, I very frequently say, put in the chat or unmute. Those are all little micro engagements, in addition to, changing up the pace and watching a video or something like that. Another tip for online, what do you think about this text here? And I did this in my video. So it's blurry, yeah. What about the amount of text? It's very small, it's too much, yeah. It makes it more difficult to multitask when you're engaged. Absolutely, Vish, absolutely. Precise, that's the point of being engaging, yeah. So we don't want to have this much text. It's way too much. So especially online, make sure that your information on your if you're doing a PowerPoint, you're using a deck, that the information is really chunked. We respond very well online to headings and bullets. our brains really like that. It makes it much easier for us to read online. So in blog posts, e-newsletters, etc., if that information is chunked, make it much, much, much easier. And one of the biggest things, one of the key things around whether something is easy to read or not is the amount of white space. So the more white space there is, right, you'll see there's quite a bit on most of my slides, that actually helps with the readability. Another tip is, does anyone work with communities where literacy is an issue? Let me know in the chat. Does anyone work with communities where literacy can be an issue and or numeracy? Oh, children. Yeah, if you're working with children. Yeah, absolutely. So there, oh, Shuk, did you have a comment or question? Go ahead. And
Yes,
Shahira?
Lian, I heard that, in terms of white space, contrary to the white space, is our eyes is more soothing when it is in a dark mode. Is easier on the eyes. What would you say to that?
Oh, that's a good question. And honestly, I don't know. I think the reading I've done is about the light that our screens emit. So you might notice my glasses have a slightly bluish tinge to them. And that's because I spend so much time on a screen, that's cutting the glare and making it easier, because we get eye strain now. We're on the screen so much, but that's a really good question, and I'm not sure. Does anyone know anything else about that? Red, I know, and if people aren't aware, you can, in some programs, you can make the background, in a lot of apps, you can make the background black or white. I would just say go with what you feel comfortable with. For me personally, I like white. White, it seems clearer and brighter to me, but that's just a personal thing. Shahira, did you have a comment or a question? Okay, just so you know, your hand is up there if you want to click that off. Okay, so we talked about the letter Z, interaction every 5 to 10 minutes, making sure that things are chunked. Bullets are brilliant. Use lots of bullets. It really, really makes things easier. White space. And there are tools that will help gauge the literacy level. So if you are on Word, you can do a literacy check. You can run your text through Word. It will tell you how old someone needs to be to read that. And generally speaking, literacy levels are way lower than we think. So oftentimes newspapers are written to be what a 12-year-old would be able to read. So it's actually quite low. I didn't pull it up, but I will send a follow-up. I'm just going to make a note. There's a really cool tool that I've just discovered where you can put your URL in, so your URL or another website's URL, and it will instantly give you a literacy check. So it will tell you what their literacy level is of that website. Maz is saying black background uses less energy. Oh, I didn't know that, Maz. Really? Oh, I guess that makes sense actually, because to make it brighter. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Very cool. Do you want that literacy gauge? Would that be helpful? That URL? Just let me know in the chat. See how I'm encouraging a little micro engagement there, right? Okay, great. I'll send that out in the email. Okay. Yeah, it's really cool. You can put your own URL there or anyone else's, and it instantly tells you the literacy level. Online, we need way more pause time. What do I, oh, Ali, is there one for another language? I have not used this tool very often, but I think, it's just a new tool that I've discovered. I think there's a language feature on it. I think you can change it to other languages, but I could be wrong on that. I don't know this tool well. Great question. Okay, pause time. What do I mean by pause time? giving time to think. Yeah, so if I say to you, okay, does anyone have any questions? Okay, so the next thing that we're going to cover is, like, that is an example of 0 pause time. I didn't leave any silence before I went on to the next one. Vishali is saying, I'm learning from observing my 6-year-old's teacher do Zoom classes of effective online engagement. Oh, I bet. I mean, hats off to teachers who are teaching little ones online. And if you've ever done some searches, there are some brilliant, hilariously funny, touching, poignant videos of teachers just knocking it out of the park, teaching little ones. Has anyone seen any of those? Maybe.
But you should share some if you have them.
Oh yeah, there's a particular there's a particular kindergarten teacher, and she's teaching kids literacy. Like, she's teaching them how to read and write, and every letter has a body movement. And so she is just like all over like, she's so captivating. And this video, I think, has millions of hits now. So I'll find it and share it. And if anyone else does, feel free to share those as well. So with pause time, I was just talking about this with the other day, and I think online we need lots more pause time because, for example, people are generally muted. So if Afi has a comment or a question, it takes her an extra, just even a half a second to remember to register that she's muted, unmute, and then say something. So when we're engaging folks online, it's really important to leave more pause time. So does anyone have any questions about any of that? So that was 10 seconds. That was 10 seconds pause time. And I can see Ali like, nope. Oh, Shook is asking for a break. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Of course you can have a break. Do folks want to come back? Is that good for everyone? Do folks want to have a break right now? Like a 5-minute break? Does that work? Just put in the chat there. Do you want to have a quick break? Okay. Awesome. Okay, so if you can monitor yourself and be back in 5, that would be great. We'll see you in 5 minutes. And Neural, if you're comfortable, you can pause the recording if you want, and then just restart it again. Hi, Ali. Welcome back. Hi, Zudi. Welcome back. I love your background. Kenya has just opened up. Again, we can travel anywhere within the country, and I'm just dying to get to the coast. So it looks like the coast of Kenya where you are. Like, oh. Is that a particular place or like a generic? You guys just locked down again, said Maz. Oh,
Yeah. This is just Zoom background.
yeah. Oh, fantastic. I'm so sorry you're locked down again. It's just heartbreaking. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, just let me know in the chat if you can see my screen okay. Good. Thanks. Saofong, hi, sorry, we'll need to offline now. Oh, I'm so sorry, Saofong. I hope you're feeling better soon. So sorry. Okay, so just as we dig in again, let me know, what is your What is a happy, relaxing place for you? Like lockdown, aside, and money aside, like there's no restrictions. My blanket, Ali, that's great. Great. Anyone else? What is a place that you feel comfortable, relaxed? It's a happy place for you. On a hammock by the beach, said Maz. Any particular beach, Maz? At home, says Zudi. Okay. In nature, cabin next to a river. So I think that's you, Appy. Vish sitting on a beach staring at the ocean. Perhension, I don't know if I said that right, Maz. Perhension Island. Oh, okay, I'm intrigued now. I want to look that up. I'm gonna write it down. It's such an interesting name. Is that in Malaysia, Maz?
Yes.
Okay. Karura Forest. Oh, Vish has mentioned a forest in just 10 minutes from where I live in Nairobi here. It's beautiful. I'm sorry, I don't remember who asked for a break, but I wanted to say thank you. My in practice, oh, and by the way, Nurul, are we recording again? Are we okay? Shook asked. Okay, thanks, Maz. Thank you, Shook. Okay. So my in practice, professional practice when I'm giving a workshop is if it's 2 hours or less, I don't give a break because it's just so short. And I need to change that up for online. 2 hours is too long without a break. So I'm so glad you asked, Shook. Thank you very much. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about some online tips. I'll finish up with this. We're going to rewrite some gravity, or rewrite the theory of relativity rather, and then dive into some tech tools. So some other online tips is if you can address people by name, the research is showing that really helps for engagement. It really, really helps. And with Zoom, let me know how many people online are using Zoom in your work and how many people are using MS Teams. Let me know in the chat. It's a little bit different for each, but in Zoom, when someone comes into the call, if you are the presenter, so Maz is using both, okay, you'll hear a bell. If you have that notification on, which is really good to have that notification on, that someone's joined your call. However, the challenge as a presenter is it takes a couple of seconds, it's actually quite a long delay before their audio comes on. So let's just say it was Maz. If I saw that Maz had just joined the call, I can't say welcome Maz instantly because Maz will not hear me on Zoom. It takes a couple of seconds for her audio to kick in. So as a presenter, I try to hold that name in my head for a couple of seconds and then say the name because I want her to hear it, right? I want to hear her to hear, oh, welcome, Maz, I'm glad you're here. Oh, I see. So Maz, in my UN world, that means officer in charge. I'm not sure what you mean by, oh, I see. Let me know there. Good to know. We use Zoom for our staff meeting. Okay. Really? Oh, that's good. A little acronym. Okay. Wow, thanks. I like it when I learn new things. FYI. Okay. How about, do you know this one? This one took me a while to learn. FTW, do you use that one? Does anybody know what FTW means? Zudi's smiling there. For the win. Yes, I like that one. So for the win. Okay. That I didn't mean that one. Sorry. Okay, so address people by name, and I'm relatively new to Teams. Does anyone recall? I think there's a bell when someone joins, but I think the audio is quicker on Teams. I'm actually in the middle of writing a blog post about the pros and cons of Teams and Zoom because there's some very different features. My goodness, very, very different. Okay, and then
one thing I like about Teams that we can't really do on Zoom is that you can sort of react to the chat like, you can put a heart or a like sign or something when somebody says something. But I don't think you can do that here, can you? Like immediately on the actual comment in the chat. Yeah.
I think you can do emojis. Let me know, folks. I'm almost always presenting, so it's kind of not really on my radar, but that's a great question, Vishali.
But yeah, it's about the comment itself. Yeah, you can do an emoji when somebody's talking to, yeah. So like, for example, the emoji, I can just like on that particular note, put a reaction to it, right? Or agree with or something. And that's one of the features on Teams that I particularly like. And we use Teams a lot for most of our meetings, actually.
Okay. Sorry, I understand what you mean now. Yes, you're right. Yes, that is not possible in Zoom. The other cool thing, have you done this in, how many people on the call use Teams? I don't want to get us off track too much. You can paste an emoji, but there's no emoji bar. Yeah, it's a little more, emojis in general are easier in Teams. Has anyone done it's a weird name, I'd have to look it up, but you can take pictures on Teams where people are, it's like they're seated in a theater. Have you done that? Has anyone done that on Teams, that feature? It's so cool. Nurul is saying no. And there's 2 different ways you can do it. And literally it looks like everyone's seated in a theater. They're all in these different rows of seats. It's really, and I like, especially folks in the UN, they love photos of after a workshop. So if I'm on Teams, I'll do that, that kind of fancy version. And on Zoom, I'll just do a screen grab of the whole, Shahira, have you done it? Yeah, it's really, really cute. Yeah, lots. It's very popular in the UN to want a picture. Yeah, look, exactly, Ali. It looks like you're in a movie theater. Exactly. Okay. So lastly, in terms of online tips, research show. Now you'll have to put this in your cultural context if you're working, with government officials or something like that. You have to balance this out with protocol. But research tells us, and this comes from Tech Change, that more informal speech works better for engagement. And that includes contractions. So if you're aiming for higher engagement, speak more informally and say things like, I can't, not I cannot. Contractions help. I just think that's so quirky, but it really helps with engagement. Okay, any questions about those tips before we move on to the roles and then Einstein? So in terms of pause time, that was about 6 seconds I left there. 6 seconds. Okay, so, thanks, Maz. Maz is saying good tips. And let us know in the chat if there's lots of other ones. So things that you've learned along the way. I'm sure that there are other things. Please add to that as we go along there. So online roles. You're online, you're giving these workshops, you're doing advocacy, you're engaging people. In general, when you're working with more than one person to do a hybrid event, to do an online event, to engage folks in real time, what's worked for you? What's something that's worked for you? And I'm guessing you've learned so much about this in the last year. So if you think about juggling, so Maz, icebreakers, okay? So clearly, like if you're working in a team, having someone be responsible for doing an icebreaker, absolutely. Anything else? Thinking of like asking about themselves, Vishali saying letting someone other than the facilitator do the icebreaker, absolutely. Juggling up different people. Yeah, because the goal, if you think of that brain infographic that I did, is to help your stakeholders, participants, community members, whatever you're calling them, getting them to pay as much attention, be as engaged as possible, be as focused as possible. And meanwhile, for you to be as relaxed as possible so that you can serve better. So this is an example of what my desktop can look like when I'm doing an online live workshop. So what are some things that you see here? What are some things that you see? For example, how many screens do you see? Mass is water. Yes. So we talked about that, how the importance of water. Here are too many gadgets. Yeah. 3 screens. Yes. Yes. Elevated laptop for the webcam position. Yep. Absolutely. So why would I have 3 screens? There's this laptop, there's a iPad and a phone. Yeah. So what can you think at all about? Now, today is slightly different. I don't have my iPad. And this would look different if I was using Teams, actually, because Teams has this feature. Zoom does not have this feature. So notes and papers. Yeah. So this is my agenda. So for me, I have my agenda printed on paper because 4 screens seems like a little bit too much. I have water. You can see my mirror. Got headphones. I've got my beloved Diet Coke because I'm a weird person and I don't like tea or coffee, unfortunately. So generally speaking, and this, we're just diving into the weeds here, super, super detailed. Afi's saying phone for messages and time checking. Yes, absolutely. So I use my phone because depending on what's showing on my laptop, I may or may not be able to see the time, but I can always check the time on my phone. The phone is for something else as well. If I'm presenting in a group of people, with a group of people, why would I want my time? Oh, and also Ali, yes, I use my phone for my timer. Yeah. Shook is saying close all the chat groups. Yes. So I close everything down. WhatsApp is closed down. Facebook is closed down. WhatsApp, everything on my laptop is closed down when I'm presenting. I love that you have a view of the garden. Yes, I have a gorgeous view, unless it's around 6 o'clock and the ibis, the beautiful ibis are in my garden, but making just, it sounds like someone's dying. Their sound is so bad. But getting back here, in Zoom, you can't do presenter view as you can in Teams. So right now in Zoom, I actually don't have my iPad. I do this 2 ways. So in this example here, when I'm teaching, the actual particular slide would take up the whole screen. So I can't see the slides coming up because you can't do presenter view in Zoom. So that means I have the deck saved as a PDF and I have it pulled up on my iPad. So then I can flip forward and backward. And there is an alternative. Oh, Shika saying, no wonder it looks like you have a natural light shining on your face. I also have a light. There is another light. I don't think you can see it in this picture. It's right, it's sort of off to the side here. So lighting is really important. But if you want to do presenter view on Zoom, has anyone done it a different way? It's actually the way I'm using. I have a halo light, Maz. I haven't used it yet. I bought it when I was back home in Canada. That's going to be my next stage. I'm working with a digital marketing expert and oh, I have so many goodies planned. I'm so excited. But there's an alternate way that you can force Zoom into presenter view. And by the way, my belief is presenter view with PowerPoint is so important because I want to be able to see those slides, what's coming up. Do I have to go back? You know, do I have to go forward? So does anybody know how you can force Zoom to do presenter view? You can do presenter view as long as you're using the app. You can do presenter view on Teams, which is a huge benefit. But how can I force Zoom to do presenter view? I'm actually doing it today. Anybody know? because this is one way that really helps you relax as a presenter if you have control of those slides and you can go forward and backwards. Any guesses? No? You can share a partial screen. You can share a partial screen on Zoom. So I have, and I wish I could show you, but Zoom doesn't let me do that. I have all of my slides on the left-hand side, so I can scroll up and down, but you're only seeing part of my screen. So it's a little green box. I'm gonna move it over. So now can you see? Now you can only see half of the slide and you can see all of my upcoming slides. Yeah, so you get a sense of what my, and see, I'm moving this partial box around. Right, there's Zudi. So now I'm going to move it back to the individual slide. So you are not seeing my entire screen. Huge tip, huge benefit when you're presenting to help you relax as a presenter. Any comments or questions? I know that's very technical.
Sorry, Leanne, do you mean that when, at the bottom of our screen, you have the green share screen? So that's what you click, and then you click on the option of partial share, is that right?
So if you go to do it, I'm just going to stop share and just walk. Yeah, so you press that green share screen. Then you'll automatically be taken to basic. There's three things at the top. It says basic, advanced, and files. So under, just like you normally would, you would pick whatever you're going to share. So I've just highlighted my PowerPoint. Now here's the trick. Now, after I've highlighted, I want to share my PowerPoint, I click on advanced and I click, and there you'll see there's a bunch of different options. Now I'm clicking on portion of screen. And it'll give me a little green box. And I can resize that box. I can make it, I'll show you. I can make it smaller, right? And when I'm moving the box, it turns orange. And when it turns green, when I stop moving the box, it turns green, and that means that's what people are seeing. When it's orange, it just means that I'm in the middle of moving it. Does that make sense, Vishalni? You see, I can make this.
Yes, yes, now it does. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, it's a bit finicky. So you can, if you want, you can have another screen with your PowerPoint on it, or you can do this partial share. In Teams, you can do presenter view. It's a really great feature of Teams, but you have to use the app. Presenter view does not work if you're using the web version of Teams. You have to use the app. Okay, so we talk about some different roles. These are some things you might need to have handy. They're going to change depending on the person. I happen to have really thin lips, so I always try to put a little bit of color on my lips before I'm presenting. So just have actually, and this here with the phone, if I'm teaching as part of a team, and that team is in different countries, different cities, that they're not physically with me, why would I have my phone? Well, how would I be using that phone potentially? Just let me know in the chat there. Text messages, yeah, exactly. So it doesn't have to be a phone, but I would strongly recommend if there's a team of 3 or 4 or 5 of you, or even just 2, and so say Vishalni and I are team teaching something, make sure that you have agreed on a way that for the 2 of you to communicate privately. So for some people that's WhatsApp. For some people, you can use Zoom and just send a private message, but just have that system set up ahead of time. Okay, questions, comments? Is this making sense? The downside to using a phone is make sure that the phone, if I'm working with a client that likes to use WhatsApp, I put that phone like right on my screen and I make sure that it's set, that it's not going to go dark. It's not going to go to a screensaver, because I have to have it in my line of vision. If they're messaging me, if it's off to the side, then I might miss those messages. Okay, let me know in the chat if anything's confusing or things you learned along the way that work with you. With the goal of making sure that everyone is, that you're relaxed as a presenter so that you can be of your best service. Things to talk about with your team is who's going to moderate, who's going to facilitate. If there's a big group, like I was working with 115 people the other week, I can kind of moderate the chat, but with that many people, I might miss things. So especially if it's a large group, having someone that's their sole job is to monitor the chat. Particularly if you're working with sensitive content or something that's controversial, you might want to have one person dedicated to monitoring social. What do I mean by that? Why would we want one person monitoring social?
For comments, any comment?
Yeah, exactly. So you can respond quickly if they're talking about you and your content, your organization online, particularly if it's negative, that you're aware. You know, years ago, Appy saying, in case there are people who do live tweeting comments on social media, exactly. So I can't monitor the chat and monitor social. It's all at the same time. It's too much. I'm not going to do any one of those three things very well. So make sure if it's a public event and there could be some things getting live tweeted, etc. on social, that you have someone dedicated to monitoring that and monitoring the hashtags that could be being used. I once went to a conference years ago. Oh, I still cringe at this. And I think it was a TED Talk even. And there was, the speakers were sitting at the front of the room, and behind them, this is the kicker, behind them was a screen with all of the a live stream, so all the tweets, etc. And one of the speakers people did not like her. And so there was all of this negative talk going on behind her, and she had no idea. It was just cringe-worthy. It was really, really bad scenario. Yeah, it was really bad. You know, I felt so terrible for her. Okay, and then you also probably want to have someone monitoring your tech. So if internet goes down, you know, do you have CPS, like a continuous power supply? You know, what happens if, you know, something goes wrong? So someone who's monitoring that and can give you a hand. For example, when I'm teaching these 3-hour workshops to UN peacekeepers, there's one person on the call with me. His sole job is tech. So he's the one who's dividing them into rooms. He's the one who's broadcasting messages to the rooms. And it just gives me a bit of breathing space. If something's not quite working, I can talk to him and he gets everything going. Neural saying, random question about Zoom. If we subscribe with 2 or more hosts, meaning the one account can run 2 or more separate meetings at the same time. Oh, can one account have, so I think you're asking, can one account have more than one meeting happening at the same time? I don't know. It depends on the type of account you have. So I have a professional account, like a business account, and I've also upgraded it so I can have more than 100 people in one call. I've never tried to do more than one meeting at the same time, so I don't know. Does anybody else on the call know? I think Zoom's customer service is really, really great. So you could probably, I can also Google that and see. Just made a note there. Okay. Okay, so those are some things to think about in terms of your online roles. Neural's saying, yes, Bish, now we have with one host only. Okay. So I'm not, yeah, I think the question is, can we run 2 separate meetings at the same time? So I'll Google that and I'll put it in my follow-up email. Okay, so some things to think about is to sync all of those things together, right? If you have all of those people working together, those clear, it's really, really clearly delineated. Okay, Zudi, you're going to monitor the chat. Afi, you're going to monitor social. Neural, you're going to take care of the tech, you know, etc. It just reduces the stress so much and helps you have a better experience. Okay, comments or questions before we switch gears here? Just gonna share a different screen. So I'm gonna share a portion of my screen, and because it's, so this is the example that I was giving before, because I'm not using my iPad today, but you'll see in a second when I go to share it, you'll see that it takes me a second to get the box in the right place. So it's a little bit clunky, and I'll show you just what I mean in a second here. But there's pros and cons if you don't have another screen or it's not handy or whatever. So I've just clicked basic. Now I'm on advanced and I'm clicking portion of the screen, and you see it's a little bit off here, right? So I'm just kind of resizing it, and so it's a bit clunky with Zoom. It's much smoother on Teams. As long as you're using you have to use the app if you want to do presenter view. Okay. Okay, can I get a thumbs up? How are you feeling? How are you doing? We're going to do a next piece, talk a little bit about Einstein. This is something you can kind of do a little bit on your own time. I'll do a quick introduction, but I really want to get to some of the tools. That's kind of the fun part. So our goal here, I'm going to just introduce briefly this Einstein piece. The worksheet is in your portal, and then we'll demo some tools for communication and learning. And then the rest of our time, the last sessions we have together are just playing with tools. So on a scale, this is a scale of 1 to 12, but how in control of tech do you feel? So on a scale of 1 to 5, how in control of tech do you feel? Feel free to put that in the chat. Because we're going to create, I'm going to show you a tool to help you kind of harness technology, help you feel more in control of it. So on a scale of 1 to 5, feel free to put it in the chat. How in control? So we have a 2.5, we have a 2, 3, 2, 2. Okay, 2s. Notice I'm not saying people's names, right? So for future, because people might feel good about that number or not, I'm just reading out the numbers. So we've got 2, 3, 3. Okay, so I'm hoping that this tool will really help you feel a lot more in control. And the whole idea here is to rewrite Einstein's theory of relativity. So basically, this will help you stay in the driver's seat and feel in control of tech. The idea here is instead of E equals mc squared, we're going to rewrite that to m plus c equals E squared. So lots of times I get folks talking to me and it's like, yeah, I don't know where to start. I'm overwhelmed. I don't feel in control of tech and I don't know where to start. So this worksheet will help you identify. M stands for matters. So think about your pain points. What are the things that are really important to you? A new breakthrough formula. Yeah. This came to me literally in the middle of the night, like at 3 a.m. I woke up. I was like, I should wrote it down, back to sleep. So this will help you identify things that really matter to you. Then things that are constantly happening. And when we put those two things together, so if something is really important to you and it's constantly an issue, then that's an indication that that deserves your time. Because if you find a tool to help you in that area, you'll get a lot more ease and efficiency. So there's a worksheet in your portal. We're not going to do it now, but in the email, I'll put a direct link to it. And by the time we meet again, if you can take a look at it, then you can see if there's any questions you have. But basically, it kind of helps you identify where is the best use of your time to gain more ease and efficiency and have technology help you. That's basically it in a nutshell. I know I went over that really quickly, but again, I'll give you the link in the email. And I wanted to actually get to playing with some tools. Is that okay? If I go ahead and you play with that worksheet on your own, and then I can field any questions next time. Okay, great. Okay, so let's get to some tools, some actual tools. So all of these tools are linked in your resource portal. And today we're going to talk for the last 15 minutes or so, tools for communication and learning. The next sessions will be on research and listening, ease and efficiency, store, finding, sharing information, etc. So I'm just going to demo some. They're all linked in your portal. They're all in there. And some of these tools can go in more than one category. So you might be thinking, I'd put that in a different category. So one of them is this bingo. Has anyone tried the bingo sheet in your portal? Really simple, easy way for communication and learning to happen. It's linked in your portal. Any guesses what tool I used for this to create this, or my team created? It's really simple. Nothing doesn't cost any money. It's simply an editable PDF. I use editable PDFs all the time. So this, I've done lots of bingos for different things. There's one in particular for you folks. I'll get you to, maybe we'll, between now and our very last session, I'll prompt you to play that and we can talk about that. This is another example of a editable worksheet. This is linked in the portal. When we were talking about the sakes, right? People can fill this worksheet in and count things up so they look at their preferences. Just really simple, nothing difficult, nothing costing money except for your time. Another one is a meme generator, and I'll show you this live in a second. Has anyone made a meme? Zudi's nodding. Okay, so some of you may have more or less access to graphic design. So this one just does it for you, right? So I'll show you that URL in just a second. Another one is crosswords. This one, it never fails to surprise me how popular crossword puzzles are. And I'll show you the link in just a second. You can have a crossword puzzle ready in 10 minutes. This is such a simple tool, such a simple tool. So I tend to make crossword puzzles when I'm teaching something, and people love them, absolutely love them. You have participated, if you've been involved in other sessions, in Google Draw. So when we did the almond you know, when people were trying to guess the word almond, that's just a Google Draw. So there's Google Docs, Google Sheets. Google Draw is another one that I think is highly underused, highly underused. And then there's like specific ones. I'll show you this tool live in a second. If you want to help people relax, reflect, maybe sink into your, you know, at the beginning of your engagement, or maybe partway through for a break. Again, I'll show you this live in just a second. So those are just a handful of tools. I'm going to go to my, just going to share another screen here. And all of these are linked in your portal. So, okay. So let me know in the chat if you can see my, what I've done now is I've taken you to my, I've lost the word, the intertubes, right? That you're in Chrome, So this is the worksheet for the Einstein sheet that's linked in your portal. Here is, let's see here. This one here, this is the meme generator. Oh, you've got some gray boxes? Okay, hang on here. Okay. So what you're seeing, I just try to do this again here. I'm trying to look at the chat at the same time. Sorry, folks, it's going to be a bit, I'm trying to move my screens around so I can, if I don't want someone to make a comment and then I can't see your comment. Are you okay now? Can you see that showing up? Are the boxes gone, Maz? So there's still a gray box. What? Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm shrinking the.
Okay. It
Is better now?
It keeps getting smaller. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, so this is the meme generator, and I'll just share the link in the chat here. Okay, and it's really, really, really simple. Like, you're not going to get complicated, you know, things here, but you can pick an image, and then you pick some text. So what text would you like me to put on this meme? Just put something in the chat. It doesn't matter. Like, and you have spaces for two things. So life or death. Okay, great. Life or death. And then, or sorry, let's do life on one and death on another. So I've just had a direct message. Thank you. One of the things about Zoom is if someone shares a screenshot, you can't see it. You have to download it. So that's really great. And I'm grateful that you've done it. And I'll take a look at that after, because I can't unfortunately see it quickly. Okay, so I put life and death here, and then you just click done and it's done. So very, very simple. You know, the upside to this is that it's really simple. The downside is that you may not find the images that you like. This is an example of the, let's try to make this bigger for you here. So this is an example of the crossword puzzle, and how I've done that. And this is the weirdest name. It's called Armored Penguin. So this is the link. It's not a very nice looking site, but if you go down, oh, hang on, you got to go to crossword, sorry. I think it's just /crosswords. Oh, hang on, let me just Google it. So it's quite old imagery. There we go. You can, oh, and with Armored Penguin, you can also do word searches too. Do all sorts of different. So it doesn't look very nice, but it's super simple. You put your title here, you can put your author's name if you want, and then just ignore all that. Scroll down, put your answer here, put your clue here, and then once you've finished, you click Make Puzzle, and your puzzle's made super fast. And you get 4 versions of every puzzle. So you get an online, I know, Maz, it's really cool. And I cannot tell you how popular these are. So you get 4 versions. Any ideas? Why would you get 4 versions of the same puzzle? What would the 4 versions be? Any guesses? So the 4 versions are, you get stumped. So you get an online version that you can fill in. Okay, so it's online. You get a downloadable, editable PDF, right? Then you get a PDF of the puzzle. Then you get an online version of the answers and a downloadable PDF of the answers. So anytime you click Make Puzzle, you get all 4. So you can do this virtually. People can fill these puzzles in online, or they can download the PDF and well, I suppose they could print it and fill it in, or they can edit the PDF. So it's really, really cool. This is the Hangman. This is a little bit different version that I did for you. So I think Google Docs are highly, highly underused, right? This is how we can draw online. So this is an example. Sometimes I'll get for people to, just put the number of lines for their word, and then people guess and try to, figure out what that word is. And then finally, these are just, a couple of, oh, hang on. Oops. Let me do this again. I'm gonna have to click this off again. So, okay, so this next, so Vishali, all of these tools are free. Great question. Yeah, there's very, very few tools that I share that cost money, and all the ones I've just shared are free. I'm going to, actually, I'll share the do nothing for 2 minutes in just a second. But this, another kind of tool, this is a tool for, so this is only for the Chrome browser, and it's called the Momentum app or the Momentum add-on. And every day it gives me a gorgeous, gorgeous picture and a really great saying. And it allows me, if I want to put my main focus for the day. Now, this is only for Chrome. So if you're looking for something kind of inspirational and the pictures are just stunning. And if I want to, it allows me to share this quote. It's really cleverly done. Okay, so let me just, actually, I'm going to share one more tool. Then we're going to go back to the do nothing, and then we'll close for the day. So the other tool I wanted to share is Google Alerts. How many people on the call have a Google Alert, an active Google Alert? Let me know in the chat. Used to, so, okay. I highly recommend that you get a Google Alert. This is a fantastic way for learning. So, okay. So Google Alerts are like your own personal researcher. So you go to Google Alerts and you create an alert. So you probably want to have one for the name of your organization and your name. And then what Google does is I'll show you the options here. So I'm just using Mari as an example. then it will say, well, how often do you want to get these alerts? And by alerts, it means it will tell you when that, whatever you've put the alert on for, is mentioned online. So it is remarkable. So you can say at most once a day, as it happens, once a week. You can say, okay, I just want things related to blogs, news, web, video, like whatever you want. You can say, what language are you looking for? What region of the world? And then once you create the alert, Google will email you that you tell it where you want it to go anytime that thing is mentioned. So on the count of 3, can you, or actually, can you all unmute right now? So I'm aware that I haven't done very much engagement, right? I've been talking for a lot. So I want to do a little micro engagement. Okay, so on the count of 3, everyone go, ooh, and ah. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Ooh. Ah.
So Google Alerts are amazing. And I used to do Humor in the Workplace Awards, which is a whole other story, just phenomenally, fantastically fun. And someone from New Zealand stole our entire program, everything, except where it said my name. They took my name out and put their name in. And it showed, I had a Google alert for humor in the workplace. And of course it showed up in my thing. So I highly recommend that you get a Google alert going. Okay, let's do a quick, I want to do this last thing with you here. So this is a really fun website, and it's going to take 2 minutes. And I know we're just at the top of the hour, so maybe we'll do it for 1. So it's called Do Nothing for 2 minutes. And it's just coming up here. It's just loading. I've put the link in the chat, and it tracks if you are actually indeed doing nothing. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's still processing. Okay, so I touched my mouse, and then it tells me to try again. So that, and you can do it. I think you can do it with sound and without. Shira had to leave. No worries. Thank you. So that's a wrap for today. We shared a bunch of tools. Just touch the surface of a bunch of different tools. Super encourage you, stay in the driver's seat, figure out what works for you, what works for your organization, the communities that you're working with, etc. Any last questions, comments before we sign off?
People usually share with you or and with others what works?
Do people share with me what works? You mean after I've taught a class, do they get back to me and on tools? Sometimes they do, yeah, absolutely. Or they ask questions, or yeah. I'd love for you. I'll put this in the follow-up email today. I'll give you some suggested action steps, and like, you know, one of my key ones is try one of those tools, or come up with a plan for what, you know, what could you use, what would work for your context. So yeah, great question. Okay. So can I just say thank you so much, everyone, for showing up, for your wonderful comments and questions and engagement and participation and focus. I know you have lots on your plate. I'm going to ask you to unmute and just send a wish to your team, send a wish to your colleagues, say something that you wish for everyone. So on the count of 3, unmute. Ali, if you're able to unmute, Shalini, Maz, Afi, on the count of 3, and in whatever language you wish. 1, 2, 3.
Happy
A
birthday.
good week.
Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
And thank you, Leanne.
Thank you. Thank you so
Stay
much.
safe,
Safe
everyone.
drive.
Happy Hari Raya.
Oh, thank you.
Stay safe, stay well, stay creative, and hope to see you for our next workshop. Thanks, everybody.
So
Bye-bye.
great.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Leanne.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone.